Okay, we have here an EVVA MCS, Generation 1. There's the key. I'm going to attach this piezo pickup so we can listen on what's happening. Now there is a big pin here preventing the cord from moving. And then we can start picking. Scrambling the rotors. Four on the top. Four in the bottom. So on the top, two may be binding. The bottom it might be three, but two feels a little bit more promising on the top. So we'll try that first. Very subtle click. I think that's it though. When I'm able to release tension, start to hear the rotor moving, and then while it's moving, increase tension, and at tightest, still hear it moving like that. suggests it's now guided into the through gate. And that can change as we move through the rest of the rotors, but the top is sounding pretty good now, all four of them. Bottom rotor 1 seems like it's binding. There's some movement. Nice. I think 3 might be binding next on the bottom. Well, let's just do it once over to check. Nice clicking on 1 on the top. Hearing movement on all the top rotors. On the bottom, I hear movement on everything except 3, so I think 3 it is. Let's get in there. Okay, let's throw in the bottom. One more time. 4 in the top. Might be next. I mean, I'm not completely happy with 3 on the bottom. But I can't tell of any other rotor that needs work at the moment. So let's try 4. All right. Four is definitely good. I'm going to try 3 on the bottom again. Nice. Okay. All right, 1 on the top is binding. Oh, and we're open. Look at that. Not bad. All right, full open. Okay, so let's see a few things. First, let me turn off the audio here. I mean the piezo. Turn that off. And I've got quite a lot of equipment here. Just a little headphone amp that's off screen that I can talk about a little bit later. And I've been listening in on headphones. But we're going to want to gut this lock, and it's actually a bit of an involved process. So let's take this a little slowly and think about it a little bit. Well, let's see. I want to get it out of the vise first, so let me zoom out. camera. Zoom out a little more. Okay. Let's see now. Well, so lock is clearly picked. So I'm going to lock it back up. Oh, that's interesting. So there's some key control going on here. So you saw the lock was completely unlocked, but as I started rotating back to the lock position, it's now in a stuck state. It's bricked. And what's happening there is there's a set of ball bearings. Well, there are, you can probably see here, there are some drivers with springs that are pushing up against ball bearings and preventing that core from moving. And we can't just stick in a key to fix that. But what we can do is we can use this pick right there. And there we go. Now we're back in the lock position. Before I go any further, I just want to note that the side that I'm picking is the one that's stamped. Right, that's the side I picked. And you can see there, wrong side. There we go. You can see the stamp, which matches the key code on the key. So now that I fixed the key control, that key works again. And we're going to want to gut this lock. And there are a few steps involved. So let me get some tools first. So we'll need a gutting tray. And the first part I'll just do right here, which is to take this, screw this middle piece off. So gutting this side. I'm going to tilt in a little bit so I can get a screwdriver in here. Okay. And that, here, I'll take the key out. And this piece should come off. Oh, no, there's a little bit of a brace there. I think I'm going to need to take that off with a screwdriver. Hold on. Let's see if this works. Yeah, there's a little metal clip that comes off. All right. So there's the metal clip. And now this piece should fall off because I took the screw out. Okay. And now comes the next interesting piece. There are 4 pins in here that are holding this core in, and I want to get it out in a way that I don't do like I did before and engage the key control mechanism. So I'm going to try to maybe put a little setup here with a vise. I want to kind of hold this part of the cylinder over my tray because things may pop out. Okay, and now we can start extracting the core. All right, so I'm going to start with the big pin in the back. First one is always the hardest one because I'm trying to pull out and twist at the same time that I'm pushing the pin down, and I was able to use my thumb there to kind of push it along a little. Okay, not bad. So we're out. There's the core, and now a few things fell out. One is this ball bearing right here. Okay. And the other thing that fell is this little piece that goes on the end of the core. And there's the other side, the piece on the other side. That hole there is where the ball bearing goes in. And I'm just going to leave the core here for a moment so we can look at the rest of the lock body. I'll take this out with the vise. Don't need that anymore. And now you can see these are all the pins in here. Let me see if I can get some better light. Okay. So we've got one pin, two, three, and it looks like the big one fell over in the back. There it is, 4. Okay, then there are a bunch of springs in there, and then there's this mechanism that interfaces with the other lock. Let me just shake those springs out. There are the 4 springs. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and so now I've got a completely empty core. Try to get some better light again. There you go. Completely empty housing at least. Okay, so we'll put that on the side here. I'm not going to gut the other half, just the one we're working on. All right, so now the harder part is taking this core apart. Going to get in there a little closer. Okay, so let's see, get some tweezers here. So there's a lot going on here. You can see this is the top of the lock. There are 6 ball bearings here. This is part of the key control that you saw me get caught up in towards the end. and there are the other 6 on the bottom, okay? And that's where the primary ball bearing is that I picked at the very beginning. Now, the interesting part isn't all that, though. It's the rotors are underneath here. And so here, the bottom one fell out. Okay, that little notch there tensions the first rotor. You can see here it is on this side. Goes right in that hole to get at the rotor. And we're not going to make more progress here without removing these plastic things, which is a pretty delicate operation. Oh, no, there's one more piece. This little plastic ring helps. That's part of what moves aside and allows these pieces here to push in as you rotate. So as you rotate, you know, the piece on the back here will push this sliding silver piece to the left. So that's how the rotational motion translates to lateral motion and how we get some tension on the rotors underneath. Hopefully that all makes sense when we open it up and can take a better look. But this ring comes off, it's delicate, so you definitely don't want to break this. Let's go slow and take it off. Okay. And now we got to get these plastic tabs off. So, this is tricky and a little destructive. I've done it once before, so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier this time. But what I'm going to do is I'll start with the left side and I'll trace. This is a pretty fine blade. I'll just trace along the outside of the plastic here. Hopefully to loosen things up a little. Okay, and then I'm going to use the corner of this razor blade to lift the side up. Very difficult. Maybe I'll have better luck on the other side. Yep, okay. So that's the plastic piece sitting on top. It's right under it. Hold on, let me try to get that. It fell off the side here. This was sitting right underneath. Okay, and you see the that prong for the first rotor fits right through there, and then there are prongs. You see that? There are prongs for the other 3 rotors right behind. Okay, and so now we can remove this cover. And expose the rotors. Okay. And this is, again, the left-hand side that we're looking at right here. And hopefully I can take these out one by one. The magnets are on the back of each the rotor. So if I can kind of lift up behind there, I could... There we go. Okay, so we got one. And these are kind of fun to look at, so you can see how these work. The magnetic field is polarized in a certain orientation. And so when you match that up with, where'd the key go? With the key, it'll rotate each rotor in exactly the right direction. And so that these little, one of these notches is aligned with either the notches on this metal piece I showed you, or if it's the first rotor, this tab on the insert. That's how it works. So let me find a good place. They're magnetic, so I want to make sure they don't interfere with each other. I'll just take these guys off the wood so that I can use that space. And so this was number 4 on the left. And let's see, hopefully the rest will be easier to get out now that I've got a start. Yep, there's the third rotor on the left. Second rotor. And the first rotor. All right, and then of course that's empty, but we have the other side, the right-hand side. Same deal. Gonna try to loosen things up with a very sharp knife. And hope that I can just pry the end off here with a razor blade. Hopefully not send it flying like the other one. Oh, nice. Perfect. Okay, now you can see how this guy sits directly underneath. So there's the cover. And like the other, you can see those 3 prongs that binds to rotors 2, 3, and 4. This plate holds the center axles in place. Okay, and then we have 4 more rotors, total of 8. I'm going to try to take them out from the back again. Okay, here's number 4. Number 3. Not sure why these are different colors. Number 2, and it came out really nicely. Oops. Okay, and the last one. Here's number 1. Okay. So, that's about as far as I want to take the core apart. These 12 ball bearings are really in there, and so I don't really want to pry them out. They're just for key control, so those are all the important bits. Nothing really left in the housing and in the remainder of the core there. The only other thing probably worth talking about are the tools. Quite a few tools used here. This deep hook was just to get the primary pin here set so that the core is freed up. You saw this very low profile thin pick came in handy when the key control mechanism forced these 3 pins into the side when the cores turned slightly. And so, you can see clearly what's happening here. If you stick them in here, you can manipulate those ball bearings very easily. So that's a good thing to have on hand. And, simple tensioner. And I guess the most interesting thing is the pick. And so, yes, there's tiny magnet glued on the tip of the pick. It's a pretty strong, it's only a 0.5 millimeter thick, but it's a neodymium magnet, and so it's pretty powerful. And what you see here is these are 3 layers of mu metal, which is a high permeability metal that helps isolate the magnetic field. It guides the field lines through the metal so that it's pretty strong on the business end, but on the back there's barely anything coming through. It's the tiniest bit on the edge that this simple screen really doesn't pick up. And so I think the sheet I used was 0.010 of an inch thick, and I put 3 of them together here, and that did the trick. So that way, when you're manipulating a rotor on one side, you're not impacting any of the ones in the others. There you have it. There's the EVVA MCS first generation.